Hi, this is Robert Polenic, the owner of Brutal Iron Gym. In today's video, I want to share 3 intensity techniques that you can use to increase the intensity of your workouts, but they also help increase your mental toughness, your ability to push to a new level of uncomfortable, which can help create new progress. The first technique is called an extended rest pause. This technique is used for weekly progressions with an exercise that can be hard to make typical increases in reps, increases in weight on a weekly basis. The example I'm going to use today are lateral raises. That is usually an exercise that's very hard to make significant progression from week to week. So an extended rest pause, this technique, we're going to pick a rep range to start with. In today's video, I'm going to use 10 to 14 reps. So I would choose a weight that I think I could do for 10 to 14 reps with good technique, but I would reach good technique or good form failure within that 10 to 14 range. Then I'm going to rest the weight, hence the name rest pause. I'm going to rest the weight, I'm going to pause, I'll pick them back up and then try another bout of effort. Typically, if I were to do, say, 3 sets of 10 to 14 reps, I would be resting maybe 2 minutes in between the sets. A rest pause is a very short rest. Usually it's 5, maybe up to 20 seconds, and it depends on the intensity of the movement. If I'm doing a big movement like squats and deadlifts or bench press, it might be closer to 20 seconds. If I'm doing a smaller movement like lateral raises or bicep curls, it might just be 5 or 10 seconds. So the idea of the rest is that it's really short, so that way when you pick up the weight and you start another bout of effort, it's really a continuation of that first bout of effort. So I'm going to show you a set of 10 to 14 reps, and then we'll talk about how I would make those rest pause progressions on a weekly basis. So I'm just going to use 20-pound dumbbells here. I will do a set of 10, and this would be representing going to 10 to failure. I'm not going to do 10 to failure, just to show you what it would look like in the technique. So the lateral raises I would want to do with good technique. So I'm going to get a good contraction and a nice slow eccentric. I want to really control the movement to make sure the quality is a maximum stimulus on the muscles. So again, I would have my ideal rep range, and in this example we're using 10 to 14 reps. I think I'm coming up somewhere close to 10. So if I got to the top and all of a sudden I just kind of dropped them, I couldn't resist that eccentric, then I would call it good form failure. So let's do one more, and let's say that the form started really breaking down. I would rest the weight, so I'm literally going to put it down. I would take 2 or 3 deep breaths, about 10-second rest. I would pick them back up, and I would try a couple more reps. So 1, 2, and maybe I'll only get 1 more. 3. So let's say that that was the max I could do. So 10 reps. I did a short 5-10 second rest pause. Then I got 3 more reps. What I could do then is I would record that, and in the next week I would do 10 plus 4. Then week 3 I would do 10 plus 5. Week 4 I would do 10 plus 6. The idea is I'm trying to extend the repetitions I can do on the rest pause, hence the name extended rest pause. Usually I will do my working sets of 10 to 14 reps, 2 or 3 working sets, and then use this technique on the last of the working sets. And in weeks 2, 3, and 4, if I'm trying for more reps after the rest pause, let's say in week 4 I'm supposed to do 6 reps in week 4. If I can't get all 6, I would just do another rest pause. So I would do 10, maybe I can get 4. I would set them down, rest 5 or 10 seconds, pick them up, and do 2 more to give me that extra 6. So an extended rest pause is we do our normal working sets, then on the last working set, I would want to add a rest pause, and then each week I'm trying to progress on the number of reps I'm able to do in that rest pause, that second bout of effort of the final set. This is a great way to really push that new level of uncomfortable, that new level of intensity with whatever specific movement you choose, so that way you can elicit new progress. The second technique that we'll cover features a pause in the movement during the concentric and eccentric portion of the repetition. So it's helpful for us to talk about what that is. I'm going to be doing some overhead presses. That's going to target my shoulders. When my shoulder muscle, the targeted muscle of whatever exercise you're doing, is contracting, meaning it's getting shorter and it's lifting the weight, essentially, that's the concentric portion. So when the target muscle is contracting, that's the concentric portion. When the target muscle is extending under weight load, which for an overhead press is when you're lowering the weight back down. For a bicep curl, it'd be when you're lowering the weight back down. Just whenever the working muscle is extending under weight load, that is the eccentric portion. So the alliteration kind of helps. Is the contraction is the concentric, the extension is the eccentric. Those two parts of the range of motion, we can play with the amount of muscular control and the time under tension that we spend in each portion to help us create more mind-muscle connection for an exercise, and or in this case just create more intensity and make the exercise harder. And again, it gives us that new level of uncomfortable, which can unlock new progress. So for this movement, what we're going to be doing is a paused concentric and eccentric drop-off technique. I'm going to pause halfway up on the concentric. I'm going to go the rest of the way up, pause halfway down on the eccentric, come the rest of the way down. I'm going to do that for 2 to 4 reps, the best weight that I can manage to doing that for 2 to 4 reps. And then out of those two parts of the range of motion, the concentric and the eccentric, the concentric portion is weaker. So rather than us doing a pause on the concentric and eccentric, and then whenever we can't pause, we just end the set, we can actually drop off the pause in the concentric, do that for 2 to 4 more reps, and then we can drop off the pause on the eccentric and do that for 2 to 4 more reps. So the idea of a paused concentric and eccentric drop-off is you start with an enormous amount of control, and then you slowly let go of that control to allow you to push the muscle further into fatigue and failure. The third and final technique we'll talk about are cluster sets. There are a lot of ways to do cluster sets, but I'll share one of my favorite structures. A cluster set is very similar to rest pause in that you're going to do a bout of effort followed by a short rest period, another bout of effort. Cluster sets, we're actually going to do multiple bouts of effort, and the rest that we take is actually longer than a rest pause, but not as long as a normal rest period. So typically, if I rest for 2 minutes between sets, using cluster sets, I'll rest half that time, so 1 minute. Then, in order to make better use of a cluster set, meaning that if I do a bout of effort, I rest for a minute, bout of effort, rest for a minute, there's a minute in between each of those that is time where, you can catch your breath, but it's also time that is not wasted. However, you could better use that time. So one of the ways that I play with cluster sets is I'll do it with unilateral movements. So I'm going to show you using a cable lateral raise. So I would do a bout of effort, and again, I'm going to pick a rep range that I want that relates to the goal outcome that I want. So for today, for this video, I'm just going to say 10 to 14 reps. That's usually a pretty good range for muscle growth. So I would do 10 to 14 reps on this arm, and then I would switch sides and do 10 to 14 reps on the other arm. And then usually I'm going to wait about another 10, 15, 20 seconds, and then I'll go back to the first arm, then to the second arm, and I go back and forth. So instead of having a bout of effort, 1 minute rest, bout of effort, 1 minute rest, I use the minute rest to work the other limb. So if I was doing unilateral for upper body or lower body, I would just do one limb, then the other limb, then a really short rest, 10, 15, 20 seconds, then go back and forth. This, I feel, is just, it has more flow to it. It keeps me more engaged in the workout. So this is a way in which I like to structure cluster sets. Now with cluster sets, what's fun and kind of interesting about it is you can play a lot with the number of sets that you do. And with this, we start with a weight that's 10 to 14 reps. And I know that as I do subsequent sets, if I have the same weight and I'm taking short rests, I'm not likely, and that's actually okay, to not get the same number of reps in all of the sets. So typical cluster set structure is I like to do 4, 5, or 6 bouts of effort. So in this example, I would do my right arm, my left arm, that's 1 set on each. Then again, I would go right into my right arm, left arm, that's 2 sets, right arm, left arm, 3 sets, right arm, left arm, 4 sets. So I can do in week 1, I can do 4 sets. Week 2, I could try, 5 sets. Week 3, I could try 6. Week 4, I could try 7. You can increase in the number of sets you do in the cluster set, and that is a way to make progress. Or you can count, okay, if I did 5 cluster sets and my total repetitions was 25. Next week, can I do 5 cluster sets, like 5 sets, and can I beat 25 reps? So I'll try to beat it in reps, or I'll try to beat it in the number of sets. Or if maybe in week 1, I end up doing an exercise, 40 pounds for 10 reps, but now all of a sudden I can do 40 for 12. That is a form of progression. I just want to progress in the number of reps I can do in the initial set, the number of reps I can do across all of the sets, or I can add another cluster set, like another set at the end. So it's kind of fun in the sense that you can modify this each workout. You can aim to increase the number of reps or the increase the number of weight in the initial set. And then if you can't do that, you try to increase the reps in the total count. If you can't do that, then you can hurry up and add an additional set at the end. So this is really fun to personalize and play with each week. So I really enjoy doing this with clients because it's fun for them to kind of play that game of, if I know I want new progress, I have to perform something new in my training. I have to have a new level of stress, a new level of uncomfortable. This gives them the ability to kind of find a way to get that to happen every single week. So I really like this one. So I'll show you in a fast-forwarded state, so you're not watching me do all of this, what it would look like to do this in its entirety. I'm going to aim for 6 total sets in the cluster set, and starting with a weight that I could do for around 10 reps. Okay, here we go. Whew. Okay, that worked well. So I got 10, 10, 8, 7, 5, 5. So whatever that adds up to, I think 45. So I would know across 6 bouts of effort, I got 45 reps, and that's with 40 pounds. So next time, can I do, more weight and start with maybe 12, 13, or 14 reps? Next time, can I beat that 45 rep total? Maybe I can do 10, 10, 8, 8, 6, 6, and get some extra reps. If I can't do either one of those options, then I'm going to add a 7th bout at the very end. And again, that's just going to be a great way to push the muscles further into a new level of uncomfortable to unlock a new level of progress. So there you go. Those are 3 great techniques that we can use to increase the intensity of our workout, to push our body to make progressions from week to week, and it helps us increase our mental toughness when it comes to the level of uncomfortable that we're willing to go into in our workouts. And if we can get to a new level of uncomfortable, we can make new progress. If you have any questions about the techniques, put them in the comment section below, and thank you for watching.